We are igniting the blockchain. I am your host, Elizabeth. Join me and my guests as we talk about everything related to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Nothing we say is legal advice or investment advice. Do your own research. Have fun and let's get started.
This is Elizabeth, otherwise known as the Crypto Woman, and joining me today is Ann Kilzer, the lead software engineer of Curvegrid and a digital artist. Ann is here to talk with me today about blockchain applications and creativity and anything else that we can come up with. So let's see where that goes. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Oh, I love the shirt. Look at that. Satoshi.
Thanks. I got it from some online thing. It's really funny. It made me laugh, and it's a little poking fun as one of the few women in this industry. I like to laugh about it.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do in a day.
Well, as lead software engineer, I guess I'm multitasking a lot, and recently I've been focused more on outreach, but I'd say a typical day is maybe I help out with the front end a bit. I write a little bit of code. Maybe I help my teammates with pull requests. And often they're working on different parts of our application, which is working with like the Ethereum blockchain. Sometimes I'm working on a presentation, like I recently did a presentation at Solidity Summit talking about creativity and blockchain. So I was trying to come up with like a cool use case of our product, and to both tie in my goal of sharing creativity and coding and also show that, our product makes blockchain easier to use. I guess in my job, I'm just kind of jumping between different tasks. I'm mentoring people, writing code, reviewing code, trying to keep a thumb on the pulse of the broader crypto world, and trying to, help guide our product to be like the best that it can be so that we can build things that make it easier for customers to build on the blockchain.
Your goal of combining creativity and blockchain, how do you plan to do that, or how do you do that?
Oh yeah, I've always been a polymath, so I've always liked visual arts and math and computer science. I studied all of those in college, and when I got more into blockchain coding, I thought, one of the things I really noticed is that there's a lot of unexpected things. I have the analogy of it's like driving a car with like the headlights off and like the dashboard. You don't know what's happening. So there's all these challenges, but those challenges actually kind of present for like new ways of creative thinking. And sometimes when I get stuck on something, finding a new solution makes it more fun. Makes it more entertaining. I also found it was just a good way to like connect with my coworkers and make them laugh. Like our first product that our co-founders came up with was like I guess it was a diamond-backed cryptocurrency, which is really, really valuable to be able to make assets into smaller parts. I was new to Japan, new to living in Tokyo, and noticed that the most expensive thing in Tokyo seems to be melons. Like you go to the grocery store and you see like cantaloupe, but it's actually a fancy muskmelon, and it's selling for over $100 or 10,000 yen. It has a very perfect stem, and I thought, well, what would be funny to put fruit on the blockchain that's really expensive, and then you could tie it to the growing season. And so, and I just kept getting these laughs from people when I'd say this. So when my company sponsored me to take the consensus training for the Solidity study, I decided to make that my project. And there weren't really anyone else writing expiring cryptocurrencies, so I thought it would be a great exercise in learning and kind of a long-running joke. I think at one point we did convince someone it was real, because I did actually buy some melons and dress them up as gifts for people and my coworkers, and someone thought, this is a real, can I invest in this?
When you said expiring cryptocurrencies, what did you mean?
Yeah, so one of the novel things about blockchain is that you can write code on top of it. So you can define your own token and smart contract. And so the rules of that are really limited by the rules of the programming language. So I could say that the melon seeds, let's say they take about 90 days to plant. I could say that we record the date that we initiate the smart contract, we start this thing, and then after 90 days, you can trade that token, you can exchange it, but the code is aware of the time. And when that time is up, or actually the way I did it is, okay, you can exchange the token. Then there's a time when the fruit is ripe. You could go to the bank and you could say, okay, here's my melon coin, give me a melon. And they give you a fruit. But if you go too late, it might be rotten. So then the coin is no longer is tradable. And the analogy would be, you know, you could keep gold or diamonds in the vault forever, but you can't keep fruit. It's not shelf stable. So I thought this might be, you know, a place for, yeah, like we can make this smart contract say, okay, after this date, you can't trade it anymore. And there might be other applications besides, you know, mine is very silly, but let's say concert tickets or events, you know, there's going to be a point where you might want to exchange something. And then, you know, if I have a ticket to go see my favorite band, and if I give it to you the day after the concert, it's not worth anything anymore if the concert's over.
I love the idea of expiring tokens related to rotting fruit. Is there a place where we can see this? Or do you have a video or a website or a demonstration of that?
Let's see. Yeah, I do have on my GitHub page. Maybe we can link to that. I have all the code that I wrote in Solidity. And I think I did like a fake logo and a website for a while. I have a Twitter account, but it's all a long joke. It's all just kind of I guess, slight nod to the wild and fun crypto landscape of 2018 in Tokyo. Because I moved here in early 2018, and it was just such like a good summer for crypto. And there were all these ads around Japan, and it just seemed like such a friendly space. But then everyone was doing an ICO, and it was like, how long is this going to last? Yeah, I'll share the link to my GitHub.
You actually have some projects though that are real in life. Can you talk a little bit about those creative projects?
So let me back up a little bit and just explain what Curvegrid does, because our whole goal is making it easier for people to build on blockchain. We know that blockchain development is hard because we do it for fun projects like the ones I'm mentioning, for prototypes we've built for potential customers. And so we're trying to make this platform that abstracts away the complexities of the blockchain and makes it easier for people to build on it. And one of the things it does is it gives an API that you can build things on. So we wanted to test our own app, like dog food it, and make sure that we are in the seat of our, you know, getting the sort of sense that our customers would get. And so we did an internal hackathon to just use that creativity and know what our customers might experience. And I really love Japanese curry. And I've also been trying to understand more about non-fungible tokens, which are a really hot topic this year. There's a lot of ideas about how we can connect the blockchain towards, you know, collectibles. And so I thought, well, let me just take my idea. I like Japanese curry. What if we could generate a random curry recipe, kind of like the way CryptoKitties or Crypto Zombies generates unique DNA. And then as a challenge, I was like, and I'll make it have vegetarian options because some of my coworkers are vegetarian. So that ended up, like, it's pretty silly, but it was just something kind of fun to build. Some of my teammates built things that I think are really wonderful that I'll mention too. Our intern connected the Oculus Rift to the blockchain. Like, she's just like a simple demo, but she was able to like use our base platform and visualize some data from the blockchain inside her VR headset. One of my coworkers was motivated by like, I think he wanted to make sure that he could unlock the door to his house for his daughter. And so he built this cool Arduino thing that it connected to the blockchain. And so you could sign a transaction and then it unlocked a door. But he used a little Lego door for the model. And that was just really fun because it would unlock.
Yeah.
And he actually, he's always full of creative ideas and like builds things fast. And then another coworker built a connection to RStudio, which is like the graphics, or I'm sorry, not graphics, the data analysis tool. which is really valuable for businesses. And the last one was more just brainstorm, but it's like, can we use this to pay for coffee? Like have a coffee machine where you send a little bit of ether to it, and then it dispenses a coffee. So I love that my team was coming up with these cool ideas and that we all had something really neat to show by the end of the day.
Good to see blockchain technology actually applying to some real use cases like that coffee machine. How cool is that, right?
We're still trying to get our bosses to expense the DeLonghi espresso machine, but proof of concept's there, and we think it might be, well, we could charge prospective customers, and hey, would you like coffee? It would be a cute demo, but we'll see.
I'm interested in the Oculus connection. I've worked on some projects connecting the blockchain with Unity programs that I use.
Oh, neat.
And that's kind of cool that you can actually distribute tokens within the game, based on game activity. I think that's something that's good. But we also worked on pushing data and extracting data into the blockchain through 3D experience. The possibilities for creativity are unlimited here.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, I don't think have even come up with the ideas yet of how this is going to apply to us in the future, or the creativity aspects of it.
Yeah, the Oculus thing was cool, and it's my intern made me aware of Glitch, which is this really cool platform for like collaborative and creative coding, mm-hmm. which I totally have on my idea list of things I want to explore when I have more free time. But one thing we're trying to do with our product is, we have the ability for our customers to always hold their private keys so they control things and can make the decisions, but we can also like delegate a signer. We can use multi-sig wallets. We can use hardware security modules so that, like maybe the signing could be delegated to something else. So we're trying to make it so that we can really lower some of the friction that people face when trying to combine blockchain with their idea.
And you mentioned non-fungible tokens as the topic. Those are pretty exciting too. I've created a couple of those. Have you created anything?
I haven't created anything on OpenSea. I mean, I've made my own things on Rinkeby and in my GitHub, like the random curry recipe, but I've seen some really cool things. So I presented at DevCon and also at Solidity Summit I just tried to do a survey of some cool things that are happening in the space. And one of my favorite projects I've seen that I'd like to share, it's called Autoglyphs, and it's by a group called Larva Labs. And it's an edition of 512 unique artworks. They're generated in Solidity, and the actual information to draw the picture is also written in Solidity. So you don't need any extra servers or assets. It's just completely blockchain. And they have these very symmetrical, but kind of random patterns. They kind of look like stars or snowflakes. They're really interesting. I'm a bit bummed I learned about it after the edition had sold out, because I totally would have bought one, but it's a beautiful idea. And even if you can't own one, you can see them all. So I love that kind of stuff where I feel like people are pushing the boundaries of what this is.
They're fun, mm-hmm. right? Because mm-hmm. I like art. I like to create art. And so this is fun. However, non-fungible tokens work really well in the business world too. You can assign a token to a piece of jewelry. I've worked on a project where people are assigning it to trees in a forest. Mm-hmm. You can tokenize just about anything that you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and art, so when I studied in undergrad, I studied printmaking. You can see like there's a print behind me, not mine, but by an artist that visited my school. It's really cool. Chinese artist named Zhang Guanghe. But one of the things that's really interesting with printmaking, you learn how to do additioning. So it's like, this is my set of artwork. I printed 12 of them. They're all alike. This is a limited number. And this one here is special because this one's an artist proof. So that's one that's allowed to be a little different. But I always think like this idea works so well in blockchain. You could track provenance and ownership on the blockchain connected to art that's completely physical, but you could say, you could put a QR code on the back or something and track that editioning and ownership in a really neat way. So I always like kind of mapping concepts from one realm into another, and I think, oh, these actually fit really well together and could help artists, sell their own work, make more money. I'm hoping to ways to, help promote the arts, and yeah.
So you study printmaking, and I understand that you are studying Japanese calligraphy right now?
Japanese calligraphy and Nihonga, so Japanese painting. Yeah, before COVID, I was going to both of these classes once a week. Now I'm doing painting online and calligraphy. Well, need to do it a little more on my own, but it's been one of the real joys of living in Tokyo, is getting connected to fine arts culture and having the kind of space to practice that.
So when you talk about creativity on the blockchain and you pull out these examples of artistic applications, you have some authority to stand on. You are an artist and a woman who codes, and you're part of that group, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always taken a really creative approach to technology, and then vice versa. Like, printmaking is the most technical of the arts available, because what you see is not what you get. You have to like cut a wood block or make a screen or like etch something into a stone. It's not straightforward, and there's a ton of science in it. And people that do printmaking like love to draw the natural sciences. But then at coding, people think, oh, this is just like really logical. And it is, but it's also about, oh, I hit an obstacle, how do I get around it? So it's all about creativity and problem solving. And I don't know, to me, they just kind of fit well together.
So creative problem solving in coding for the blockchain.
Yeah, and it could be really fun. I mean, I did this ideation activity for DevCon and also for Solidity Summit, where I basically gave the participants, I had them draw cards, we were going to make a game. So let's say there's a game theme, like, okay, this game is about ducks, or this game is about fantasy, or this is about medieval Japan or something. And then a game type, like this is a role-playing game, or this is a racing game, or this is corporate training. And then I'd give them a feature of Solidity that was kind of a tricky thing to work in, but like, okay, we're going to use multi-sig wallets, or you're going to use tokens. And I almost wish that I could go back in time and like make my whole workshop just be that, because one of the groups was creating this, RPG like fantasy game with different, I forget if it was non-fungible tokens or things, but there was just such like fun ideas that people were discussing just from these prompts. And it was a really wonderful experience. I kind of likened it to like, the card games you see, like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, where you take a simple idea and build on it. And I have a version of that. I rewrote it as a decentralized app on my GitHub page. So that's available for people to see.
Well, we are definitely going to post your GitHub page, because it was a lot of fun stuff there. But you talk about printmaking and not being able to see the finished product when you're creating it.
Yeah.
Ideate it or think about it in your mind. And it's similar with code. And a long time ago, there was a program called PavRay for ray tracing, where everything that you put it was on a DOS box back then.
I used DOS.
Everything that you put in there was purely code and mathematics. I think it was one of the C languages. I can't remember now.
Oh, cool.
And you would have to render it overnight.
Oh, wow.
Because the processing speed was so slow then, right? And then the next day you'd get up and you'd open it up and you'd see the graphic. And it made beautiful graphics. It still does. You can download it and use it still. But you wouldn't really know for sure.
That's a slow feedback loop.
You would have to really know what you were doing to make sure that the light source and the shading and the gradients came out perfectly by knowing what the code was supposed to represent in your mind. And I love that. It was
cool. So did you write in that language?
I did.
That's awesome.
for a long, long time. You know, you can
Yeah.
go through phases in life, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool things you can make. And I spend a lot of time making fractal art. And,
Oh, awesome.
and I've often thought about tokenizing that art on OpenSea.
That's a great idea.
So there's a lot of artists out there who've made
Hmm.
digital art and done things that we could pull into this blockchain, and they can tokenize it and sell it. I bet there are people with libraries of digital art.
Yeah, and physical art too. I mean, I think there's still a way you could track provenance. There are some companies doing neat things, I think like Super Rare and others that are sharing really like awesome digital art where you can buy it on the blockchain. And I've seen different events that have, you know, auctions and things. It's quite interesting how it's changing the fine art landscape. I love that sort of thing.
So I'm a creative and I want to get involved in blockchain or digitize my art. How do I get started in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of ways to connect with blockchain. I have kind of gotten into it at a very technical side, but there are people that are more on the consumer end. There are more people on the financial end. So there maybe you as an artist just want to accept Bitcoin or something. I remember actually when I was doing some freelance like design, I was making patterns online. Somebody in Turkey wanted to buy some of my stuff. They can't get PayPal. And for a while I was trying to convince him, well, maybe I would take Bitcoin, but then he kind of chickened out. But you know, this could help artists reach different markets and or do you know, international transfers and save on transaction fees. You know, using something like Stellar or something instead of a bank transfer could help artists make more money. So that's one level. You know, you could partner with a company that's trying to make it more accessible to artists, or, you know, if you want to kind of dive in and DIY, you could pick up Solidity. There's great tutorials that many are free, like cryptozombies.io is totally free and will teach you a little bit of blockchain code and give you something kind of fun and whimsical, and you could write your own code. Try it out on Rinkeby, and maybe it would inspire new ideas. So I think there's a lot of ways to get started. There's a lot of communities of people talking about it. It's important to ask for help wherever you go in this space, because there's a lot of, like, there's no experts really, maybe except Vitalik and a few people, but most of us are new to it. The industry is not that old, so there's plenty to learn, and just understand that it's okay to be a beginner. Most of us are beginners, and I don't know, like, just try it out.
If you're an artist and you're a self-learner, definitely jump in and explore the landscape.
Yeah.
It has been really wonderful talking to you about creativity and the blockchain. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I'd like to share that our company has some tools for like helping people like build on blockchain faster. So if you wanted to check out what we do, we're at curvegrid.com, and we'd love to have more conversations with people and help them, you know, if we can help you make your idea possible, we'd love to be in touch.
Do I understand that you are going to be expanding to other platforms besides Ethereum and Solidity?
Supporting multiple blockchains has been the goal of our company for the whole time. We call our product Multibas, multiple blockchain as a service, because we'd like to support more blockchains in time. We are starting with Ethereum because it's got a great community. It's got a ton of development, and it gets initial stuff out there. As you know, as customer demand increases, we look towards supporting other blockchains, and we do have conversations with, you know, business development partners at various products. It's just a matter of time.
And how can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm at Twitter at Stone Cold Kilzer. Our website is curvegrid.com. I'll put my GitHub, but it's Ann-Kilzer, Kilzer, on GitHub, and you can check out some of the code that I've written and maybe fork it, and most of the stuff I do is open source, so you're free to use it and mix it up.
When you fork open source, it's always nice to let the originator of the code know how you're using it. I'm sure you're curious.
Yeah, it would be really interesting. But mostly I like the MIT license a lot, just because it gives the people a lot of permissions to kind of share it however they see fit. So I try to put stuff out in the world, and sometimes it doesn't really matter if I hear back. It's more just like making something that people can build on.
Let's talk a little bit about open source and creativity.
Yeah, I've only really been writing, I guess I wrote a little bit of open source stuff years ago when I was an intern, but in the last few years I've been doing a lot more stuff and just putting it out there. I'm a big believer in sharing knowledge and sharing ideas. Maybe it's because I spent so many years in school and grad school, but I find that when information is free and that you can, every day as a software engineer, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, as they say. I'm using tools that other people wrote. I'm using VS Code, which Microsoft, gives for free. I'm using open source libraries that people just share. Sometimes I'm using design assets that people I just want to make more design assets featuring women and people of color so that we can have inclusive design. That's awesome. What can I do to keep like this atmosphere? Maybe I can put something out in the world that someone else can use. And I think just that energy, giving things forward and that collaborativeness makes us a stronger society.
And that's wonderful energy to bring to the creative space and to blockchain. We talk a lot about the financial and the technical applications of blockchain. So it's good to talk about that too.
Yeah, and those things are fantastic too. And I'm really glad that I get to work with people that have, that teach me about more of the financial side of it. And that there's like so many ways to be involved in blockchain. And yeah, this can help, people invest, help people like bank the unbanked. And I guess I just bring my particular strengths to a corner of it.
And you are very, very strong in creativity and coding. And thank you for sharing with us today how we can bring both of those two strengths together. It was really good to talk to you, Anne.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Check out ignitingtheblockchain.com for materials referenced during this podcast and for a list of other conversations about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. See you around the block.